All right, I'll treat you as if you are primary school learners, okay? All right, so we're going to play bingo. Um, Here's the bingo card. You can see there are four columns and four rows. So what you have to do is choose a column. All right. And I'd like you to draw around the column that you choose. If you hear a word, mark with an X, right? If you mark four of the words, you shout bingo. Okay? Aye. We're going to do it on an online tour called Figma to try and make it more interactive. So here in the chat is the Figma board. There you go. Please click on the link and I'll give you each a bingo card. So let's have Jamie on the first one. Put your name there. That's Jamie's. The next one is Rebecca's. And next one is Rosa's. Okay, so what you have to do is choose a column first of all. It could be the last one like this. Okay. Circle it. Put a circle around it using the pen tool. Can you do it? Ya pudiste. You have to, that's it. Click on the pen tool. You're having problems, Rosa? Can't you move anything? Jamie, what about you? Can you do anything? Can't find the pencil tool. Okay, that's weird. Well, it says you can edit. Anyone can access. Okay, can you move the X's, Rosa? Can you click and move the X's? Can't move the X's either. That's not good, is it? Oh. Mm. Mm. Okay, tell me which column you want. One, two, three, or four? Rosa. Which column? The first, the second, the third, or the fourth, the fifth?
Sorry,
What?
I can move.
Just tell me which column you're going to choose.
Number 3.
Three. There you go. All right. Rebecca, which column will you choose?
Number 2.
Number two. Jamie?
Number 4.
Four. Okay. Now, can any of you move the X's? Click on the X's, see if you can move them. Rosa can move her X's, that's good. Rebecca, can you move your X's? It's just not as good as the old Jamboard does. It's too complicated. Yeah.
I can't.
It's annoying. All right, well, I'll try and move them for you. I'll tell you what, I'll also give you the handout into the chat. There we go. So you have that as a backup. All right, so let's play the bingo then. So if you hear one of the words from your column, you put the X on there. So first one is going to be carrot. Then it's going to be orange. Oh, sorry, yeah. Pear. Hamburger. Meat. Chicken. Apple juice. Banana. Oh, I've got one there. Banana. I've also got hamburger. There we go. Egg. Good. Rice. Tomato. Or tomato, if you prefer. Fish. Cake. Apple. Orange juice. French fries. Carrot.
Bingo.
Chicken. Oh, yes. Rebecca's got bingo. Okay, so it looks like Rebecca won there. Well done. Okay. Now, let's read about Alex. Alex is a character in this book that we're going to use, called Kids Box. I'd like you to read. You've got 1 minute and answer these. Sorry, I'll give you more time, 2 minutes. Answer these three questions. What's his favorite breakfast? What's his favorite lunch? And what's his favorite dinner? Okay, put your answer to the first one in the chat. What's his favorite breakfast? Yes, it could be fruit, and milk, right? Yeah, or we could say apples, oranges, and bananas. But fruit is acceptable, yes. Number two, what's his favorite lunch? Chicken, yeah. And the third one, dinner. Okay. Now, do you know the difference between lunch, dinner, supper, and breakfast? So these are the times roughly that in the US and Canada and Britain, they often have these meals. So breakfast is it comida, cena, merienda, or desayuno? Was that you, Rebecca? Desayuno?
No.
It was Rosa, was it? Okay. So desayuno, yes. What's lunch? Is it comida, cena, or merienda? Jamie?
Comida.
Yes. Yeah, and then cena is what, Rosa? Is that cena, supper, or dinner?
Dinner.
Huh?
Dinner.
Yes. Yeah. So the supper is merienda, right? When we have our pan dulce. Yeah. And our leche. No. I'd like you to draw your favorite food in here if you can using the pen tool. No, it's not very easy, but if you could also do it on the PDF, yeah, that I sent you. So you have to choose from this list: milk, bread, eggs, juice, chicken, rice, water, fish, carrots, apples, meat, potatoes, apples, and oranges. Right? I'll put Jamie on this one here. Okay. Try to draw your favorite food, but it has to be from this list. And Rebecca. I will draw mine as well. I will put got to write on it, draw on these, isn't it? Yeah, I understand. But if you can't do it on there, draw it, try and draw it on the PDF. Let me share the link with you again, see if that's causing the problems. Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Jamie is having problems, and Rosa is as well. All right, well, in that case, try and draw it on the handout. It's always good to have the handout as a backup. There we go. Now, we're going to watch a little demonstration of how to do the task. Okay, we're going to watch a short video and you're going to answer these three questions. What is Anna's favorite food for breakfast? This is Anna here. And what is Anna's favorite food and drink for lunch? And what is Andrew's favorite food and drink for dinner? Into the chat. Comprehension. Check. Please click on the chat. You get this. Please confirm that you received it. Okay, you're only going to watch this once. So try and write your answers into the spaces here. Ready? Here we go.
Ready now. I'm ready now.
You go first.
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food for breakfast?
It's bread and a glass of milk.
It's your turn.
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
My favorite food for breakfast is a glass of milk and eggs.
It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
It's chicken, carrots, and potatoes.
Okay. It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
My favorite food for lunch is water, chicken, and rice. It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for dinner?
It's bread, milk, and an apple. It's my turn to ask. What's your favorite food for dinner?
I like meat and rice with water and apples. Okay, please submit your answers into the form. Let's check. So Anna's food and drink for breakfast is indeed, yeah, glass of milk and eggs. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Anna's favorite food and drink for lunch, we said water, chicken, and rice. Correct. Yeah, one person said tea and water, but no, it's just water and chicken and rice. Andrew's favorite food and drink for dinner, meat and rice with water and apples. Yes. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, now we'll watch again, but this time I'd like you to focus on the expressions we use for taking turns. So, you notice on our Figma Jamboard, we've got turn taking. So we use words like ready, all set, to confirm that the other person is ready to start. And when we're taking turns, yeah, alternando, we use you go first, I'll go first, it's your turn, it's my turn, go ahead. Okay. So let's have Rosa and Jamie work on this one. I'll work with Rebecca on the second one. Okay, see if you can move the palomitas, yeah? Because you need to put them into to indicate that you've heard them. There's the link again. Let's begin. First,
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food for breakfast?
it's bread and a glass of milk.
It's your turn.
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
My favorite food for breakfast is a glass of milk and eggs.
It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
It's chicken, carrots, and potatoes.
Okay. It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
My favorite food for lunch is water, chicken, and rice. It's your turn to ask.
What's your favorite food for dinner?
It's bread, milk, and an apple. It's my turn to ask. What's your favorite food for dinner?
I like meat and rice with water and apples. What's your favorite food for dinner? Oh, you. Okay, so which one did they use the most? Which expressions did they use the most?
It's your turn to ask.
Yes, they did, didn't they? Yeah. So, there we go. I think they used, it's your turn to ask 3 times. There was one use of ready right at the beginning. Kind of missed that one though. Okay, now. So these expressions are useful when we're doing the task, the speaking task, right? Because we need to take turns in asking the questions. Yeah. Now, what about some of these questions? Let's practice the pronunciation. All right. So all together, we're gonna you see the words that are in capitals. We've got to stress those words strongly. The words that are in bold, also strong. All right. The for, it's not strong. Yeah. So the black words, we've got to put more stress into them, guys. All right. So let's say them all together. For dinner. Repeat after me. For dinner.
For dinner.
Food for dinner.
Food for dinner. Food
Yeah.
for dinner.
Favorite food for dinner.
Favorite food for dinner.
What's your favorite food for dinner?
What's your favorite food for dinner?
Oh. Now let's do it again, but repeat with let's substitute lunch. All right, for lunch.
For lunch.
Everybody, for lunch.
For lunch.
Food for lunch.
Food for lunch.
Favorite food for lunch.
Favorite food for lunch.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
What's your favorite food for lunch?
I'll instead of dinner, let's say breakfast. Okay. I'm gonna ask you to do it. So Rosa, breakfast. For breakfast.
For breakfast.
Food for breakfast.
Food for breakfast.
Favorite food for breakfast.
Favorite food for breakfast.
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
Okay. Remember, breakfast, 2 syllables. We strongly stress the first syllable in breakfast. Breakfast. But the second is weak. It's more like fust. Breakfast. All right. Rebecca, for breakfast.
For breakfast.
Food for breakfast.
Food for breakfast.
Favorite food for breakfast. What's your favorite food for breakfast? Please repeat.
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
Good. Jamie, for breakfast.
For breakfast.
Favorite food for breakfast.
Favorite food for breakfast.
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
What's your favorite food for breakfast?
Okay. Now, when we reply, we've got to stress the nouns, right? The sustantivos. So I like oranges and apples. All right. So Rosa, I like oranges and apples. Please repeat.
I like oranges and apples.
Rebecca, I like oranges and apples.
I like oranges and apples.
Jamie, I like oranges and apples.
I like oranges and apples.
Great. Now, you're going to do the task. Okay, so I'm going to put you in pairs. Let's have Rebecca, Jamie, student A, and Rosa, student B. Okay. And I'll work with Rebecca. Okay. So what we have to do is ask and answer. Yeah. What's your favorite food for breakfast? When your partner says, I like oranges and apples. So if Rebecca says, I like oranges and apples, I've got to draw Rebecca's favorite food, right? Which would be oranges and apples here. Yeah. So I draw them. Questions? Huh? Okay, if you can't draw them on here, you can draw them on the PDF. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Should take about 7 minutes. Jamie and Rosa. I'll work with Rebecca. Okay, let's do it. Oh no, it looks like we've lost Jamie. So Rebecca, could you just do it with Rosa in here, please? I'll just watch.
Okay. Um, where is the ah?
It's on. Let me give you the link again.
I found it.
Okay. Rebecca, you found yours?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
All right. But you've got to draw on yours and Rebecca's got to draw on hers, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, so get started.
Okay. What's your favorite food for breakfast?
I like eggs and a glass of milk.
Okay.
And what's your favorite food for breakfast?
My favorite food for breakfast are apples and a glass of milk. Um, what's your favorite food for lunch?
Um, I like a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Okay.
What's your favorite food for lunch?
My favorite food for lunch um, are eggs and orange juice.
Okay.
What's your favorite food for dinner?
Hmm, my favorite. Here. I like tacos.
Okay.
And what's your favorite food for dinner?
My favorite food for dinner is chicken and rice.
Okay. Uy, okay.
Are you done? Seems to be, right? Because you've both drawn each other's dinners. Great. Well done. And you did very well at taking turns and asking the questions. Yeah, no corrections there. Just one thing though. You seem to be unsure about whether food is plural or not. Right? So in English, you can say my favorite food. No, oh well, the spelling can be different between British and American, right? Favorite. But with British, it's you. Favorite food is apples and bananas. Why can you say that? Why can you say my favorite food is apples and bananas and not my favorite food are? Because food is normally uncountable, right? Yeah, so we use the singular verb is. So we can say my favorite food is apples and bananas. And remember, fruit is also a uncountable noun. My favorite fruit is kiwi, right? Now we can say fruits. Like we can also say fishes, even though fish is in the is uncountable and is normally we use the singular form, right? But we can say fruits because then we're talking about different types of fruits. Yeah, like tropical fruits, temperate fruits, right? But normally fruit is uncountable and takes a singular verb. Yeah. Foods can also have a plural form, but then we're talking about different types of foods, like foods from Asia or America. Normally it's singular and countable, unless there's a special meaning. Yeah. Good. Well done. So, what did you think of the demonstration lesson? Let's have a look at the notes here. How did the teacher set the scene, introduce the topic? Well, it was through a game, or it really wasn't it? Yeah, it wasn't anything magical. It was just a bingo game. Was it effective? Okay, a few tech problems, weren't there? It's always the risk. We're trying out a relatively new tool. What language words was there in the lesson? Think about what was the new language that we introduced? Well, we had the revision of the vocabulary, wasn't there? So that was the first one, yeah. So revision of food vocabulary. Anything else? Yeah. Oh, yes. Meals. Differences. Now, it's actually important to point out these cultural differences, isn't it? Yeah, because maybe some students are not sure what we understand by dinner. Yeah, is that comida at 3 o'clock? Well, dinner in English-speaking countries, is it in the morning? Is it at midday or is it in the evening? Is dinner in the midday or is it in the evening? It's usually in the evening, isn't it? Says Rebecca. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas lunch is usually around 1 o'clock in English-speaking countries. Yeah. Whereas in Mexico, we often have our comida about 3 o'clock, don't we? Right? And in Mexico, lunch is often what kids take to school, right? So llevan su sandwich y boing, you know? So that's kind of important. What other language input was there? Well, it was the questions, weren't there? Questions. What's your favorite? Okay, it was only really one type of question. Uh, and answers. I like. Plus, no. But there was something else. It wasn't just the questions. That was important that they had that. Those questions, but they also needed some help taking turns. Why? Well, it's actually quite difficult, isn't it? Knowing whose turn it is. Yeah. Now, on some exams for young learners, like the Cambridge Young Learners, do you know what the Cambridge Young Learners exams are called? Starters, movers, and flyers. Yeah. And then Pet and Cat and Pet, they often have these tasks, speaking tasks, in which they have to take turns. Right? So that's important as well. Taking turns. Language for taking turns. That's not going to be relevant for all the speaking tasks that you could do. You know, some of them require interaction, some of them don't. Were students given sufficient guidance on how to do the speaking task? What preparation did they get? Well, I gave you a sort of video demo, didn't I? Yeah. Now, also gave you the opportunity to do some listening. And you might think, well, it was a bit of a boring video, wasn't it? It was, really. But I think it was useful in that the students get the idea of how to do the task. Yeah. With young learners, low-level learners, we can't do too much explaining, can we? So we need to, yeah, do some demonstrations. Now, it's easier to do if you're in a physical classroom. No. Salon de classes presencial, it's easier to do demonstrations, but it's a bit tricky online, yeah? So think about how you're going to demonstrate your task. What method or scenario did the teacher use to encourage the students to speak? Any ideas there? Well, it was the drawing activity, wasn't it? Yeah. So the idea is that they exchange information. So one person has information that the other person doesn't. So we often call that, it's a technical term, is information gap. Yeah. And that too is quite popular as a speaking task for younger learners. The seating arrangement was pair work in breakout rooms. How much speaking fluency was there? Maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And that's pretty good for younger learners. Yeah, if you can get them speaking for 5 minutes without interruption. For primary school is very good. Yeah. Correction. What was the correction? Did you feel more fluent after this? Which of the points did you think were his main strengths? I'll leave you that to decide for you. Which points could be areas to prioritize? Huh. Okay, now. So next week, you'll be doing a lesson, either speaking or writing. How do you feel about that? And Vicky will be here to observe you. Hopefully, you'll have some students. It would be great if you could encourage your friends and relatives to join. They should be younger than 12 years old, ideally, but older than 6. I know that Carmen is going to invite people as well. So let's prepare you for next week, shall we? And then we're just about finished. It's a short session today. Okay. So teaching practice 1 for the young learners, we're using the productive skills framework again. Just to remind you what goes into those stages. It's kind of simple. So there's usually a lead in. Like my lead in was the bingo. Yeah. Or it could be a picture to get them interested in the topic. Then there's a preparation stage. We've got the content So I used a video and a text. We had the little reading text about the food, about his favorite food, but there was the demonstration of how to do it. The useful language found in the text, that would be the turn-taking language. Productive task was the pair work info gap. And there was some feedback on how well you did the task, which was very good, and the language corrections. Yeah. But we can use this framework for both writing and speaking. So if you're doing writing, you can still follow this framework. In both cases, we need some sort of preparation that involves, if you're doing writing, show them a model text that the type of text you want them to write. I checked what you did for your TP4. So Rosa, for TP4, last in the adult course, you did writing. So this time you're going to be doing speaking. And Rebecca, for TP4, you did speaking. So this time you'll do writing, if that's okay. It's to give you some practice using the different productive skill. So here is the timetable for the, well, not the timetable, but the teaching practice points. Coming into chat. There you go. So teaching practice points, TP1. For primary or elementary. So the following TP points are to guide you in your lesson planning. The purpose of basing your teaching practice on a course book is only to give you a guide to the level and the appropriacy of the materials and activities for your class, and to expose you to current widely used materials. It is not meant to be prescriptive. When thinking about planning, you should always consider issues such as likely level of relevance and interest for your particular students and adapt accordingly. So we're using the Kids Box series, and we use this book on this course because of its syllabus and methodology, which tend to reflect current thinking in the English foreign language world, teaching English for foreign language world. So it helps if you read and understand the TP points before sitting down with your tutor. As the course progresses, it's expected you will begin to be more independent in your planning. Please also consider the possible needs of your colleagues for help also during this time. The TP points make reference to the student's book, the teacher's resource book, and the activity book. The one you'll be using is Kids Box 2. Everyone will use that. So let's have a look in the drive here. And there it is. You can see Kids Box 2 when you click through to the Google Drive. See that? It's a good idea to download Kids Box 2 straight away, so you have it on your computer. All of these are useful to have. The main thing is the student's book, but the teacher's guide is also very helpful because it explains the sort of methodology. Yeah. And it gives you useful tips about how to make the material more interesting and engaging for the students. Any questions so far? Can you just please download the student's book, Rebecca and Rosa? Just give me the confirmation that you've downloaded it with a thumbs up. It's a little bit heavy on the memory, so it might take a bit time to download. Kids Box 2. Nice, colourful materials. It's a very well-designed series, this, and there's lots of material to go with it for supplementary activities. So that's why it's chosen. Also, it's used pretty much all around the world because it's produced by Cambridge. So it's a pretty good choice, I think. Let's have a look. Who's going first then? So let's help the teachers who are here first. Rebecca, shall we begin with you?
Yes.
All right.
But sorry, I couldn't hear the first part.
Shall we begin with you with the preparation?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you're doing a writing lesson.
Yes.
And it looks like it's a
Dinner time?
it,
Or
sorry,
yes.
I'm looking at the wrong page, sorry. Here we are. There we go. No, that's not right either. I've got too many pages open, that's the problem. There we go. Yeah, it's dinner time. I think it's writing a shopping list. Yeah, it might seem like a strange thing to write a list, but actually it's actually quite a suitable task, I think, writing task for young learners, right? Because they need to make lists of things. You know, if maybe they're enough an English-speaking country, they need to buy things, they need to go to the shops, right? So it's relevant. So it recommends that you do the shopping list activity in the activity book, page 40. So let's get that open, shall we? Okay. Here's the activity book. And it's page 40. Okay, so you've got this. Okay, that makes sense that they could identify these foods with that activity. And then it's recommended that you review some countable and uncountable nouns for food. And you use activity book page 41, exercise 3. Okay, it's a bit similar to one I did. But they actually, instead of speaking, it's actually writing, right? Now, what could you use for the students to actually write? Now, obviously in the classroom, it's going to be writing, it will be writing on paper. But because it's online, it's difficult to see and give feedback to the students if they write on paper, yeah? They can show it up to the screen, but it's difficult for you to see. So I would recommend that you try and use a tool like slides. All right, so this is an elementary writing lesson I did recently. And you can see how I got them to actually write. I think it was an email. There we go. Oh, it was a post for like a website that they had to write, and they had to write about themselves and try to convince someone to write to them. And so I give each student a slide with their name on it. You notice that it's name labeled with the students' names. This is what the empty slide looks like. So they had to write their text in here. You give access to the students so they can write. Now, the advantage of this is that you can see what the students are writing as they're writing in real time. Yeah. Now, if they write on paper or if they write on Microsoft Word, you can't see what they're writing. Yeah. So think about how you're going to do it online. This is the tricky part. Does that make sense, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yeah. It would be really good if you could then encourage the students to read each other's and maybe give them a little evaluation task to do.
Okay,
think
so
about,
like,
yeah,
sorry.
think about what you want them to include in the writing. Yeah. The basic thing is you get them to write and you can see what they're writing. It would be excellent, really good, if you could also get them to read each other's writing, and if possible, encourage them to evaluate. Give them some criteria to evaluate each other's writing. That would be really nice. I know it's tricky, but we could try, yeah? Does that make sense? All right. On to Rosa. If you have no more questions, Rebecca.
No, it's the same time. Like, I don't know. No, it's just that I can't see. It's also 40 minutes?
Yes, it's 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would be a good idea to coordinate with your WhatsApp group to find out who wants to go at what time. Yeah.
Okay, for the teaching practice.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I assume you're going to go in the same order as before, right?
Okay, we don't have an order like for these ones. We can.
I think you can negotiate.
Okay.
Yeah. So last time it was, I think you can assume that it's going to be the same order as last time. Yeah. But as Christina and Jamie are not here and Lucy's not here, or Tad's not here, it's difficult to say. Yeah. So maybe it would be better if you had have your chat in WhatsApp to decide what the order is going to be. According to the timetable for the young learners, it doesn't say, does it? It just says 3. It says the time that the teaching practice is going to be, which is next week. With Vicky from 9 till 11:40. But I guess if you two want to go first next week, that would be fine, no? Get it done.
Like Rosa and me next week?
You could go next week, no problem. I don't think anyone
Okay.
would object, yeah?
Okay. What do you
And
think, Rosa?
Yes, okay.
And that would give them an opportunity to the other ones to see you teaching this. Yeah, I think they would appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, I will share this recording, but the best thing is if the others could see you teaching. All right. So that's good. So let's have a look at Rosa's lesson, shall we? Rosa is page 80, 5 and 6, and the context is a birthday party, which is perfect for young learners because they love talking about their own birthdays, don't they? Okay, so you could use this as your lead in. What's the situation? It's like a birthday party in someone's garden. You could maybe elicit some of the. They don't know the names of these characters, but these characters, these little personajes, they are run throughout the course book. So it'd be useful if you could say, well, he's a superhero, and what's her name? There's a little monster. He's got a name as well. I don't know what his name is, but have a look in the teacher's guide. It will tell you what their names are. You could do this listen and repeat activity. We don't have the CDs, but you can find them on YouTube. The recordings are on YouTube if you just search for Kids Box and the Unit 11. Kids Box 2, Unit 11. Or you could just record it yourself. So the language input, what you want them to be using is the language of invitation. Like, would you like offering someone, right? At a party. So think about it. A birthday party, kids need to be able to offer the people who are coming to the party some food or drink. Or requests can I have? And here you are, and I'd like. Right, so think of it as like functional language for asking and requesting and offering. The task is on page 82. Here. Imagine you've invited someone to your party and there's a menu. So what would you like to eat? What would you like to drink? Pronunciation, you could do something like I did. What are the stressed words? You know, break it down and you have this what we call a backward build-up. So you start it simple and then try and increase the sentence or question. So it's kind of longer and that helps to build their confidence. Yeah. Like to eat. Like to eat. What would you like to eat? So you get them to expand. And don't think about it too much as individual grammatical words, but as a whole phrase that they have to say. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like difficult grammar, but it's actually try and get them to think of it as vocabulary. The whole question is a vocabulary item. What would you like to eat? What would you like to drink? This is part of what we call the lexical approach to language learning. Yeah. It's that we learn language in phrases and then later we think about the grammar. It's like when I was learning Spanish, I was at a quite low level, right? Elementary, very basic A1, A2. And then my Spanish teacher taught me the song La Flaca. Remember that song, La Flaca? Por un beso de la flaca yo daría lo que fuera, right? And that was complicated grammar. Yo daría lo que fuera, right? That is difficult grammar, but I remembered it, right? As a vocabulary item. So it's a similar principle here. You want them to get them to remember these question forms and answers, right? And they just need to remember that one is like offering and the other one is accepting. Does that make sense? There's just a slight mistake here in the feedback. It says comment on what they said, not right, right? Because it's a speaking lesson. It could be a good idea to give them a little demonstration of how to do the speaking task. You don't have to make a video, but you could get maybe one of your teachers to do a little demonstration. All right. I'm not sure how I can help the other people because they're not here. How many teachers are on the Young Learners course? Is it 4 or are there 6? Do you know? Rebecca, do you know? I know it's Jamie, right?
No, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, if we don't know, there's not much we can do, is there? So you can write your lesson plan and upload it to the Neo platform, just like you did with the adult course, right? Let's just check you can upload it. So October now, it needs to be May. Teaching practice. And it goes here, Young Learner 1. You can use your regular lesson plan. Or if you wish, you could use the more sophisticated one, which I could share with you, like the one I used for today's lesson. Here is the advanced version if you want to go for it. It's up to you. I prefer a more detailed lesson plan at this stage, especially with younger learners, because you've got to think about more problems and solutions. Yeah. And there's a nice section for problems and solutions here. And there are more like stages. See that? Depends on your motivation. You'll probably get a higher grade if you do this, but also depends on your teaching in the classroom, doesn't it? Can be really handy if you can include the links to the materials. The observer will thank you for including the links. Like you can see los enlaces aquí. I would recommend also having a physical handout for the students that maybe have problems using these tools. Here's the handout I used. It's all taken from the actual book. And a PDF. That's like your respaldo. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for volunteering to be first next week. I hope it goes well for you. Do you have any final doubts or queries before we finish?
No.
We need to the lesson plan is this that you sent us in this moment, yes?
If you
Is it-
want to use that, you can use it. I prefer to use a more detailed lesson plan for younger learners because there's so many things to think about. But if you wish, you could use the one you were using for the adult course, right?
Okay.
Which do you feel more comfortable with? Yeah, but I would encourage you to use the more sophisticated one, right? Because there's more room for the details.
Okay.
But there's no obligation. Yeah, it's like what we call differentiation. If you feel as a teacher that you're ready for something more of a challenge, más reto, then use the more sophisticated, the more advanced one. Yeah. Rebecca, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. But maybe you don't have time enough to put that detail in during the week because you're very busy. So in that case, maybe the simpler one. Okay. Mucha suerte. And I will put this video onto the platform, and I will also send the teaching practice points to Carmen and the other teachers, so they're ready. Okay. Good luck next week.
Thank-
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.